The restaurant was all brightness and sparkle. The room seemed to vanish under the warm glow of golden lights. Laughter, the clinking of champagne glasses, soft background music, all these sounds of a joyous celebration blended together. But tonight I couldn't feel any of it. My heart beat faster with every second, my eyes fixed on the gold-framed painting hanging on the wall. That old painting reminded me of how distant I'd become. Though my gaze darted around the festivities, inside me an invisible war raged. This was supposed to be my night. After 5 years of effort, I was finally going to receive the promotion I'd been waiting for, the reward for all those years of quiet toil. For months, I'd heard whispers that the senior management position was mine. I'd believed my turn had come. I'd earned it. Day after day, working harder, blending night into day, always putting the company's needs first, I'd existed here for years. Tonight, I was supposed to reap the fruits of my labor. Smoothing my dress and glancing around the table, I saw my team in high spirits. The others, celebrating the company's 3-month success, mirrored the countless times I'd imagined this moment. But then I realized something. Nothing was as I dreamed. Standing at the head of the table, Richard tapped his wine glass with a fork to draw attention. The room quieted, and my heart pounded with anticipation. No matter how prepared I felt, I didn't yet know that this night wouldn't be one of celebration, but one filled with an inner void. Richard took a deep breath and began speaking. Today, we've gathered here to celebrate someone incredible. I want to recognize someone who, in a short time with our company, has shown extraordinary dedication and success, he said. For a moment, my vision blurred and one thought echoed in my mind. This is my night. My heart raced. Mine. But 3 months? My eyes shifted to Lisa. The newly hired Lisa, listening to Richard heap praise upon her. He overlooked me, and as everything unfolded before my eyes, a void opened within me. Lisa, Richard said, in such a short time you've accomplished incredible things. Your leadership skills have greatly contributed to our company. Richard's voice drowned out everyone else's chatter in the room. Crowd applauded. Lisa was promoted to senior manager, and I was left hearing only the applause. Slowly, my hands gripping the glass began to tremble with suppressed fury. I forced a smile, a lump rising in my throat. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing was real. Richard had underscored everything, but he'd given me nothing. Lisa stood up. She blushed. As everyone clapped, something inside me shattered. In that moment, the disappointment in my eyes grew heavier. It was like a collapse, light as a feather enveloping the void within me, yet painfully sharp. Richard turned to me as if he'd almost forgotten I existed. And of course, Claire, you're truly a valuable part of the team. Thank you for everything you've done, he said. The smile on my face grew even more artificial, my eyes focusing on nothing. Thank you, but no recognition. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I smiled, but a storm was brewing inside me. After years of work, I truly had nothing. Slowly, I raised my glass. Lisa absolutely deserves this, I said, though everything within me was in pieces. As we gathered to celebrate the night, there was anger inside me, but also an emptiness. I joined the celebration, yet I did nothing. I had to because I'd smiled at work. But with every passing minute, I was losing myself. The end of the party, I stepped out into the cold night air. Pulling out my phone, I began drafting an email to HR. My fingers trembled slightly, my eyes blurred as I fought to swallow my anger and typed, "My resignation letter. Sent. Dear Richard, please find my official resignation letter attached. It is effective immediately. Best regards, Claire." When the party ended, the lights began to dim. Company's successes had been celebrated, and while everyone else was filled with joy, I found myself outside in the dark, alone. My phone's screen trembled between my fingers as I tried to type a message. But the frustration inside me made every word harder to form. Was this really the place I needed to abandon? A world that measured me solely by my work, without truly knowing me? Just a few hours earlier, I'd been imagining my promotion. Yet now, this night held no real celebration for me. Everything I'd done over the years, my efforts, my dedication, had simply been overlooked. The moment Lisa was promoted, all my emotions erupted. Ambition, anger, disappointment, they all swirled together. But what could I do? Should I have shed tears in front of them? Or should I have just explained it to myself, letting this injustice fester inside me until I accepted it? There was a vast emptiness within me. After all these years, was there nothing more than a thank you, a pat on the back? Was it that easy? I'd worked day and night for years, putting my name on the company's biggest projects, only to be given fleeting value in the end. Returning home after the party wasn't easy. On the way, even the cool air outside couldn't soothe me. I walked slowly, each step wrapping me tighter in disappointment. I wondered how much longer I could carry this suffocating feeling. Seeing everything erased so effortlessly made me question what I'd truly gained. At home, I looked in the mirror. I could feel the exhaustion in my eyes. How could I define someone who'd been ignored while doing their duty for years at this company? What was my success? There was no one to see it. From the outside, I hadn't done anything to earn others' approval. But I'd always worked my best, contributed the most, given the most time. And what came of it? Nothing. That night, before sleep could find me, I thought about the years I'd spent. How could I continue existing in a world that kept seeing me this way? In that moment, I felt a resolve to make a decision. I ended the night, and after sleepless hours, by morning I'd made up my mind. What would truly make me valuable? Was I going to wait for that from someone else's eyes? One morning, before returning to the office, I decided to write my resignation letter. Even if no one appreciated me, I was done playing others' games. It was time to find my own path. Going to the office with that indecision felt like a relief. As I stepped through the office door, I didn't fully know what I'd do. This was still my old workplace. Richard and Lisa would greet me with the same smiles as always. But I wasn't the same person anymore. I came not from anger, but from a resolute silence. I was called into a meeting. Richard and Lisa sat across from me. Lisa looked at me with that familiar warm smile I'd grown used to. But this time I could feel how hollow that smile was. Richard approached me, a trace of disappointment in his eyes, and began speaking. "Claire, your projects were incredibly valuable. But sometimes the demands of the job require something different." And in that moment, he noticed the determination in my eyes. I'd made a decision. Silently, I looked at them, took a step back, and placed my resignation letter on their table. "Thank you, Richard. But my path is different. I didn't come here to be seen. I came to find the strength within me. I can't stay with you because I'm now finding my worth not in others' eyes, but from within myself." The moment I sent my resignation letter, so much had changed. That old life, those years spent in the corporate world, were now just a memory. Claire had been a woman who didn't receive the recognition she deserved at her old workplace. Resigning gave me a sense of freedom, but it also left a lingering uncertainty within me. What should I do? Were all those years of experience just a single page? For a week, I spent my days getting to know myself. Sitting at home, sipping my coffee in the mornings, brought me a calm I hadn't felt before. Something had to change, but what? What should I do to fill the emptiness inside me? When I'd submitted my resignation, a voice inside me kept asking, "What now?" But what would happen next truly scared me. 'Cause I knew one thing: I had to be brave to build a life for myself. Lying awake at night, my old workplace wouldn't leave my mind. Richard, Lisa. Even though they felt like people who never understood me and only wanted to perpetuate the system, I couldn't stop thinking about them. But there was something else, a reality. I didn't actually need them. One morning, I began researching different job opportunities. I spent hours online, sending emails and attending interviews. But then it hit me: this was just another system. I'd gone from being someone constantly seeking approval at work to trying to find what I could truly do. A voice inside me said I didn't need anyone's approval to restart my life. And then the phone rang. One morning, while spending time on my computer, my phone buzzed. It was an unfamiliar number. First, I felt a flicker of fear, but I answered. The voice on the other end was calm and professional. "Hello, Claire. This is Olivia. I did some research on your previous job. We think you'd be a great fit for a newly open position. Are you available for an interview?" In that moment, I gave my answer without hesitation. Yes, of course. I'd be happy to interview. When I hung up, a wave of relief washed over me. I'd taken the first step toward a new beginning. I slowly closed my laptop and took a deep breath. Was I really starting to find my own path? When the interview day arrived, I met a completely different Claire. For the first time, I felt truly at ease. The old uncertainties and invisible fears were now behind me. All those years of trying to prove myself to others, it was all in the past. Now, the only thing that mattered was expressing myself. That was my strength. The interview felt warm and genuine. Olivia was impressed when she heard about my successes at my old job and the project I'd quietly developed. "Claire, you've accomplished so much with this project. We'd love to have you on our team. You'd be a truly valuable addition to this company," she said. A powerful sense of triumph surged within me. This time, I didn't have to work for approval. I was doing this for myself. By the end of the interview, Olivia offered me the position. A new job, a new life. This opportunity would belong to me alone. 2 weeks later, I started my new job. On the first day, I'd left behind the dark feelings from my old workplace. That morning, there was no weight on my shoulders because I no longer had to prove anything to anyone. Everyone at the company valued me simply for being myself. In my first meeting, I introduced myself to my new team. The storm inside me had finally subsided. I was stronger now because this time I was truly doing something for myself. When my colleagues suggested new projects, my responses were firm and confident. In my eyes, there was a self-respect freed from the burdens of the past. That day, I saw genuine appreciation in my coworkers' eyes. No one was just thanking me, they truly saw my worth. Quiet rebellion within me was now crowned with a real victory. One evening, I received a final email from my old workplace. It was from Richard. "Claire, losing you from our team will be tough, but we know you deserve to move on to something better. Still, we wish you continued success." Reading it, I smiled. This was the approval I'd once craved most. But now, all I felt inside was strength and freedom. Because true success was the respect I had for myself and the peace within me. I no longer belonged to that world. I was moving forward on my own path. On my first day, the innovative and open-minded atmosphere of the company quietly moved me. People at my new workplace treated me not just as an employee, but as a genuinely valued team member. As I walked into my first meeting, there was determination in my eyes, but I also felt remarkably at ease in this new environment. There was no pressure from the past, no need to prove anything to anyone. The freedom within me grew more tangible with every passing minute. That afternoon, I had my first team meeting with my new colleagues. For the first time, I felt like a true leader. This time, I didn't need approval from anyone's eyes. My real strength lay in the confidence and worth I'd found within myself. As I entered the room, I noticed every team member listening to me attentively. In my eyes, instead of the emptiness I'd felt at my old job, there was the joy of a rebirth. During the meeting, as we discussed projects and goals, I captured everyone's interest with my input. I could feel my value. The appreciation in many of their eyes was unlike the hidden anger and disappointment I'd experienced at my previous company. Here, I was truly appreciated as an employee. And that came with a sense of inner peace. At one point, my new boss, Olivia, turned to me. "Claire, you've made a really valuable contribution. Your insights will be crucial for this project," she said. Something inside me broke and gave way to relief. This was the first recognition I truly felt. There were no doubts, no feelings of worthlessness, just pure success. Slowly, I smiled. That evening, as I returned home after work, I felt a sense of calm. This was a place that truly belonged to me. In my new job, I'd found myself and regained my self-respect. I was no longer accepting my strength through others' eyes, but from within myself. This was about finding the worth that my old workplace had never given me. True success wasn't about waiting for others' praise. It was about discovering and embracing my own inner power. A thought crossed my mind, making me realize how much I'd been freed from the burdens the past had imposed on me. I used to always seek others' approval, but now I'd started doing things for myself. Where I once felt that emptiness, I could now fully accept myself with all my heart. A month later, I prepared a new project proposal for the team. Everything I saw with my eyes was no longer just for me, it contributed to the team. Even in moments I'd initially thought would be challenging, I realized I had the capacity to solve anything with the strength inside me. One day, when Olivia came to review my proposal, I saw something different in her eyes, genuine appreciation. Now, when she spoke of my success, I felt she was recognizing my effort, not just others. "Claire, this is a truly fantastic proposal. Working with you is a huge opportunity," she said. I felt the self-respect in my eyes again. I was truly valuable. With both my inner strength and my work, I was now living real success. A week later, we successfully completed the new project and received significant praise from the company's senior management. A sense of triumph swelled within me. I was here. I was living my true success. I didn't have to play hidden games with anyone. My confidence in myself grew stronger every day. 'Cause this was truly my achievement. That evening, I received a call from my old workplace. It was Richard. This time, it wasn't a call weighed down by the past, but one that made me feel my worth was finally being recognized. "Claire, we'd love to have you back on our team. A very important position has opened up, and we think you'd be perfect for it," he said. But this time, what I felt inside was different. There was no trace of the worthlessness he'd once made me feel behind this offer. I smiled to myself and ended the call. "True success is here in my new job," I said. "My real victory is here." That night, lying in bed, I reflected. Who was that woman who'd played in that corporate game all those years ago? I thought she had to chase superficial approval. But I didn't want to become that woman again. I'd found myself. That night, lying in bed, I reflected. Who was that woman who'd played in that corporate game all those years ago? I thought she had to chase superficial approval. But I didn't want to become that woman again. I'd found myself. For so long, I'd lived worrying about how others saw me, and it had taken time to recognize the strength within me. My true victory is here, I told myself. That old world was no longer an obstacle to finding my real self. On my way home from work that day, I decided to take a long walk. Cool air blended with the feeling of rebirth inside me, granting me a deep sense of peace. As I walked slowly, I thought about all those dark thoughts and disappointments from my past. How dependent I'd felt. Measuring success solely by others' approval had done me so much harm. I realized how small I'd felt, how far I'd drifted while being forced to live for appearances. Now, when I lift my eyes, I encounter a different world. My true freedom is here, on a path that belongs to me. What others think no longer matters. My path is mine alone. Returning home, I'd received a few messages from my old workplace on my phone. An offer from Richard and a thank you note from Lisa. I knew I should respond, but I felt so at ease that I didn't have to. 'Cause now I truly accepted who I was. Calm within me offered a new world. I was leaving behind that old world, that old corporate mask. The next day, as I sipped my morning coffee, I decided to return to my old workplace. But this time it was different. This time, the decision to go back was a powerful act of defiance. That old company, once I'd found my worth, I became part of that transformation once more. I took a big step. I realized who I truly was. Now, instead of that old dependency and hidden desire for approval, I felt my inner strength. I no longer had to prove myself. I was moving forward not in the company's shadow, but in my own free space. A week later, I began planning to hold my own meeting at work. Through discussing with Olivia, I decided to take on a new project. Leading this project, I'd find true success within myself rather than seeking everyone's approval. First, some people appreciated my observations. But most importantly, I felt that every task I undertook, every step in the project, was genuinely valuable thanks to my inner strength. I understood that the most important thing in a workplace isn't just external approval, it's finding the power within yourself. A month later, I wrote my first success story. The efficiency gains and positive changes within the team from the new project were recognized as significant achievements. And this success belonged to me, not to others. Finding my own worth was the greatest reward. My true victory was a success I'd earned for myself without needing anyone else. One evening, I received another call from my old workplace. Another offer from Richard. But this time, it felt like nothing more than a reminder of the past. "Claire," he said, "we'd really love to see you back. A position has opened up, this time a leadership role. What do you say?" I hung up. I no longer had anything to prove to anyone. That offer wasn't real, it was just an echo of an old world. In this new life, I felt truly valuable. True success was now measured only by inner fulfillment and peace. 2 months had passed. First, the beginnings at my new job hit me like a bombshell. So many new responsibilities, more attention, more accountability. But at the same time, this time I felt free and valued. Everything I believed I deserved, I was somehow earning through my own strength. All the work I'd done at my old job, every sacrifice, every hour I'd put in, was now being met with genuine appreciation here. That morning, I was holding a final meeting with my team about new projects. I could see the real respect they had for me in their eyes. As I slowly presented my ideas about the project, my eyes began to well up. Once, people who saw me merely as a labor force who never noticed my efforts had never recognized my worth. But here, in this company, I felt truly present. The end of the meeting, Olivia appeared by my side. "Claire, you're doing an amazing job. The whole team is thriving under your leadership. You're a truly valuable colleague." Hearing those words, I felt something I'd never felt before: true acceptance. After all, belonging somewhere shouldn't feel this effortless. It wasn't just my work, I'd also regained my self-respect. Spending so many years at my old job, continuing without any recognition, had left an empty wound inside me. But those dark days were behind me now. The uncertainty and inadequacy I'd felt every morning heading to work were gone. There was strength in every step. This time, I was doing something for myself. One evening, Olivia and I had a conversation. She knew the projects were progressing smoothly and wanted to celebrate my success. As we sat and talked slowly, we didn't mention the past. But in one moment, I rediscovered the worth I felt within myself. Olivia had asked what I could do to truly lead effectively. Hearing that, I felt a surge of resolve to take a new step. Olivia, for years I worked to gain approval in others' eyes. But now I want to do something for myself. I want to move forward on a path where I can truly be me, I said. The words spilled out because it was time to fully embrace that truth within me. Olivia smiled at me. Claire, we've seen the strength in you for a long time. But true freedom comes when you find yourself. And you found that path. Suddenly, the woman who'd always waited for others' approval stood up and vanished. Now I had to move forward on my own path. And I was ready for it. A week later, while everything was going smoothly at work, I received another call from my old workplace. It was Richard again. For a moment, seeing his name on the screen sent a ripple through me. A piece of that old world, but this time I wasn't quite sure what I felt. I answered the phone. Richard began speaking in that familiar, superficial tone. Claire, we'd really love to see you back. A position has opened up and we want to offer it to you. I held the phone for a moment. I smiled to myself. As something from that old world tried to pull me back, I'd already found my path. This offer was, in truth, just a reflection of the past. Thank you, Richard, I said, but this time there wasn't the slightest trace of regret in me. But I'm on a different path now. I'm moving forward on my own. I hung up and took a deep breath. I could now feel true freedom within me. Knowing I'd chosen my own path, untethered by the shadow of the past, was my greatest victory. With each passing day, my confidence in my new job grew stronger. I was building closer relationships with my team, leading projects and bringing forth new visions. I felt more powerful every day. Yet, from time to time, hidden emotions about my old workplace resurfaced. Especially on the day I received Richard's offer, I realized that the effects of the past couldn't be erased so easily. Rebuilding myself was crucial, but I couldn't heal my old wounds overnight. One morning, a friend from my old job called me. Melissa, someone I'd worked with for years and shared so much with, spoke with that lingering search for validation still in her voice. Claire, the old office still misses you so much. Are you sure you made the right decision? Yes, I said, feeling a deep sense of relief within me. In that moment, I truly felt I was on the right path. Sometimes change can be scary, but I know I had to find out who I really am. I needed to choose a different path to love and respect myself. Melissa fell silent for a moment. Claire, what happened to you? You used to always celebrate others' successes. But now it's like you found your own way. For a brief second, I drifted back to the past. Back when I'd forgotten who I was, I'd always sought to recognize visible success in others. But that was over now. That hidden dissatisfaction, that constant need for approval, it had completely faded. My true freedom was now within me. The most important thing for me now is finding myself. I feel it every day. I'm moving forward on my own path without worrying about what others think, I said. I felt genuinely free. Melissa paused to think, then said, I understand, Claire. I really admire you. Because you made this decision for yourself. After our conversation, I carried a strong sense of peace throughout the day. My true victory didn't come from proving anything to others. It came from accepting my own inner strength. The next morning, it was time to kick off a major new project at work. Sitting down with my team, I could feel their growing trust in me. As I slowly shared my ideas about the project, I shone like a star this time. Expressing my own views and seeing myself as a true leader took me to a different place. Olivia smiled at me and said, "Claire, you're truly a vital part of this team. We really found the right person." Those words carried a much deeper meaning for me. 'Cause here my worth was understood. True appreciation wasn't about what others did anymore. It was about the change within me. A week later, after another meeting, we decided to celebrate with the team. This time, I was celebrating myself in a real way, having forgotten the recognition and respect from my old workplace. It was the start of a new era. That evening, while celebrating with my team at a restaurant, something from the past crossed my mind. Richard's old message popped up on my phone again. I paused for a second, but then I smiled fully. "Claire, we'd love to see you back. We think you're perfect for this position," it read. I turned off my phone. I didn't feel the slightest bit shaken. "I'm moving forward on my own path," I told myself. "I don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore, 'cause I'm finding true freedom and success within myself." The next day, I attended a top-level company meeting to review the results of the new project. When Olivia asked how things were going, I told her the project outcomes were fantastic and that my team was performing wonderfully. Everything felt fresh and new on this path. Because now I wasn't just working, I was truly leading. In that moment, I realized that the real power didn't come from external praise, but from the confidence within me. As time passed, memories of my old workplace began to fade from my mind. The worn-out woman who once waited for others' approval had been replaced by a strong woman forging her own path. My new job had become a space where I reclaimed my freedom and worth. Every day, I went to work as a new woman, one who had no connection to that old version of myself. I now measured success solely by the strength within me. One morning, while discussing a new project with my team, Olivia turned to me and said, "Claire, in the last 3 months, you've truly made a difference with your projects. You're at a pivotal point for the company's future." Those words didn't remind me of the deficiencies of my past. Now, there was a different kind of fulfillment within me. Because true victory didn't come from proving anything to others, it came from my inner peace. Yes, I could celebrate success, but now that celebration was for myself. A week later, at the company's annual meeting, I received a major award. Standing on stage in front of everyone, after years of trudging through those dark paths, this award wasn't just a success for me, it was a symbol of transformation. It was a moment when I felt truly valued. The thought running through my mind was, I no longer have anything to prove to anyone. Because on my path, what others thought or said didn't define me. That night, I celebrated with my colleagues and team. But this time, the meaning of the celebration was entirely different. Though the appreciation in everyone's eyes reflected back at me, I'd found my real reward within myself. Reaching this success without being recognized or approved by others was my greatest triumph. I celebrated that night, once again feeling true success within me. The next morning, I received an email from my old workplace. It was an invitation from Richard and Lisa. "Claire, we really miss you. We'd love to see you in a new project. This position would be perfect for you." I read the message and nothing stirred inside me. That old world no longer belonged to me. That old offer held no real meaning. My place was here, in this new life where I moved forward with my own strength. I had a brief meeting with Olivia. "Claire, we'd like you to lead even bigger projects with us," she said. I smiled because I now knew this wasn't just a promotion based on others' approval, it was part of my own inner journey. A week later, I received another message from Richard. "Claire, we miss you so much. We really want to bring you back to our team. We believe you'd make a huge contribution to the company." I picked up the phone, but this time none of those old feelings surfaced. A sense of calm rose within me. True success now rested on a story that belonged to me, not to others. Thank you, Richard, but I'm on a different path now. I've undergone a real transformation. I found my own way, I said. I hung up and sat in thought for a while. That old world had been a place that dulled me more than it offered me anything. Now I was moving forward on the path where I'd found myself. True success wasn't measured by gaining others' approval. It was the path of loving yourself, respecting yourself, and most importantly, discovering your own strength. A year passed. Projects at my new job were progressing successfully. People who knew me now saw not just my achievements, but my inner strength as well. I went to work every morning with excitement because I was doing something for myself. I was moving from the shadow of the past into a light of my own making. This powerful change within me was no longer affecting just me, it was influencing everyone around me. I was showing those who watched me how important it is to find your own worth and rebuild self-respect. True success was walking your own path every day.